Well, welcome back again for everyone that is just joining us. We're excited to have you here at NADA 2026. Once again, my name is Errol Bomar, and we are going to keep this fun going all day long. We're here until about 4 o'clock, so make sure, again, hang out, make yourself comfortable, phone a friend, tell them to make sure they come by. Also, I mentioned it before, but I just want to make it clear, when you're downloading the NADA show app, so make sure that if you have not downloaded, let's do this. How many people have downloaded the app for 2026? Okay, good, okay. For those of you that have not done it, there is the NADA normal app, but there's also the NADA show app. And so you want to make sure that you download the NADA show app. That is the one that will get you to all of the areas, events, sessions, breakouts, floor plans, everything that you want to know. You want to make sure that you have that downloaded, okay? Sound good? All right, now, we're going to keep this show rolling. Is everybody ready to get into high gear? Because I am. So do me a favor. We're going to next have the NADA Dealer Driven Podcast live. That's right, we're doing it live. And it's a conversation with the 2026 chairman, Rob Cochran. So please do me a favor. Help me welcome up Cameron Wilson and Michael Hayes. Let's give them a big round of applause. Bigger, 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 bigger. There you go.
Thank you, Errol. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Welcome.
Hey, man.
Good to see you.
How are
We're
you?
going up high. We're going up high. Enjoy.
You want me in the middle?
No, you're going to be in the middle. That's it. You're the man.
Good morning. Welcome to Dealer Driven. I'm Cameron Wilson.
And I'm Michael Hayes. Today we are lucky, as you heard to say before, that we have the 2026 Chairman Rob Cochran from number one Cochran in Western Pennsylvania joining us today. Importantly, to talk about where we are as an association going forward and as a dealer body. So let's get started.
Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you
for joining us.
Great to be here, and we have no snow here. Weather is nice in Las Vegas, so it's a lot nicer than Las Vegas than when I left Pittsburgh. So
Absolutely. So if you could just give us a quick personal history and talk a little bit about your family dealership and also how you got involved on the NADA board.
I'm second generation. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and my children make fun of me because I've never left. I didn't even leave for college. I stayed in Pittsburgh for college. I got involved with our family business right out of college. I graduated at 21, and within a couple of years, when I was 20, maybe 23, my father fell ill, and he was with us for a couple of years after that. But so things transitioned very quickly for me. And as so many within this industry, you kind of grind through times that are challenging, and that where you kind of test your mettle. You get people aligned around you. You get teams aligned around you, and that was the case for me. You get into a routine and structure, and so we've had a series of various periods of growth within our company. We now have a number of stores in Western Pennsylvania, as far east as Johnstown, and as far west now as Youngstown, Ohio. But it's still a fairly concentrated area. A lot of great team members, a lot of people really doing great work for our company. From NADA's standpoint, I think it's been 6 years that I've been on the board. I was involved with the state association in Pennsylvania, the PAA. Mike Smith, who was my predecessor, a great dealer from Johnstown, came to me when he was ready to transition and said, "You should follow me at NADA." I got involved, and I got involved with industry relations and a lot of the OEM engagement. And then here I am as chairman of the association. So it's an exciting year. There's certainly plenty to be working on, and as you know, the team within NADA, from Mike Stanton down through everybody, the dealers and the managers of the industry should know that the people within NADA are very, very, very talented and very, very committed to our cause.
Thank you. That's so kind.
Yeah, it's always fun to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. So okay,
I wasn't talking about you.
Yeah, we know that. Short timer. So anyways, when you're thinking about where we are as an industry and as an association right now, how would you frame the moment in time right now, looking at your 2026 year?
Well, it's a great moment. It really is a great moment when we think of my assessment, and as I move into this role, and you have a year to come in and try to have some influence, right? It's a well-oiled machine, and what can we do to improve it, enhance it? When I look at NADA, the policy front, when we look at last year, right, on the policy front, with what we were able to accomplish, Mike Stanton, Paul Mitri, the exceptional job that they do, we know that the CARS rule, the FTC CARS rule, that would have permanently disrupted how dealers and how lenders and how the industry works, and brought a lot of burdensome regulations and cost on how we engage with customers. It was a real challenge. We aligned, we created a strategy, we aligned with the Texas Auto Dealers Association, and we won. We won in court, and it was a big victory. NADA led that strategy. When we look at the Congressional Review Acts that targeted the CARB and getting to one national guideline for mileage and for fuel economy. Certainly all the OEMs were heavily involved in lobbying, but NADA again was leading in that cause. So we have a lot to be proud of from a policy standpoint. The team from a policy standpoint really, really talented and good, and all the right connections. We've been involved in the tariff discussions as you know, the volatility starting in April with that. So a lot of great things on the operations front. With kind of how NADA drives our business, you all have done a great job with 20 groups and with dealer consulting and all the ways that we've grown that business. The show becomes bigger and bigger every year. That all those are revenue generators for NADA. So from that standpoint, those parts of the business are in the association are doing really, really well. If there's an area, as I connect with Mike Stanton and the board, if there's an area that I would push, it's in longer term strategy, and it's in saying there's all these, and walking through all of these different variables that we're facing, and what does that impact? How might that impact dealers and how we operate our businesses in 3 years or 5 years or 7 years? And so some of the things that have occurred as we go back just a couple of years, we had, from a strategic standpoint, some of the OEMs, there was chatter that the dealer model was more expensive. And this gets into direct-to-consumer risks and liability and all those things. The dealer model was more expensive. So we commissioned a third party with Oliver Wyman. They studied it. They studied the franchise model. They studied agency model. They studied direct-to-consumer, and it was not, as might have been alleged, well, it's a $2,000 or $3,000 difference. It was not a $2,000 or $3,000 difference. The difference was in the hundreds on the distribution, and when you added back the value the dealers provided in terms of being able to get the deal done, working with lenders, grassroots, having somebody that people could come connect with when there was an issue in their ownership experience, it tilted the value equation to the dealer model and the franchise model. So we know we have the most efficient, most customer-driven model within the industry. As we presented that, some of the questions from some of the OEMs challenged us on the customer and what does the customer want. Ultimately, it's what the customer wants, and we all know that. So, from my standpoint, I've pushed the board to get more in tune with longer-term customer wants and needs. So we've commissioned another third party, and we're just getting that feedback in now. But really trying to identify what are the pain points, the tension points in the system that we all participate, dealers and OEMs both participate in to deliver a great customer experience. Some of it candidly will be on dealer behavior and these things. How do we make the process faster? Whatever it is, these 2 or 3 things, and some of them I'm convinced are on OEM policies, incentive policies, whatever that is creating too much complexity in the system. In a system that is working over time, customers are going to want it to get faster and faster. How do we get some of the clunkiness out of that? So it starts with getting the right data and the right customer research, and then prioritizing. I'm sure there'll be a lot of information, prioritizing the one or two things that we want to work to advance over the next year.
And I truly believe everybody that's here absolutely believes in a great customer experience and is looking for everything we can do to make that better.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest, as we talk about how do we protect the franchise system, it clearly, the ATAEs and the state franchise laws and all the things that we have to be so focused on, but also how do we make it better? Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. So how do we get more in tune with the customers? How do we get more aligned with the OEMs and getting to that? And they're not, a lot of times it's not easy discussions, but it starts with good data and rallying around, here's what we're hearing and here's the action that we want to pursue.
And to that point, before I get to Cameron, is the agency model that's so big in Europe is starting to unwind a few places, I understand.
It
too,
is.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It's not. It's clearly not all that it's cracked up to be, as everybody's finding out.
Great.
So, Rob, tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges or opportunities you see coming forward in this next year.
Well, I mean, there's always challenges. We're focused on. I mean, we talked about direct to consumer. It's disappointing with what's going on. We're aligned with the state associations. We have to vigorously defend that. It's when we see some of our own, whom we have had relationships with, that are all of a sudden competing against us. Mm-hmm. It triggers emotions in all of us. It's frustrating. It's disappointing. It's like some of them we even talked to the people who were leading divisions 5 years ago, and we oh, here's where we're going, and now they've changed colors and they're competing against us. So it's from that standpoint we have to be vigilant. We have to be aligned, and we have to be united as an industry, because back to the previous comments, we offer the best system for our customers from a cost standpoint, from a customer experience standpoint, and we don't want that to be altered. Beyond that, continuing on the there's still work to do on EPA. Mm-hmm. There's still work to do on bringing that to hopefully a final conclusion, at least until there's a new administration, and we likely have to do it again. But we've made a lot of progress there, and there's always there will always be curveballs thrown. I've had people, as people that have been in this role. You never quite know what you're going to get until you get into the role and things change. So we talked about, a big focus on strategy, longer term strategy, getting that greased in the system, but there can be curveballs beginning next week that we'll have to react to.
Absolutely. Well, and I know here at Show there is an absolute ton of workshops that are going to be focused on AI, and I know that's a hot button topic of yours. So will you talk a little bit about what you're planning on focusing on from an AI standpoint?
That's a good question. So the AI, we spoke about the customer. So the strategy, we talked about customer experience. The second bucket of that is AI, and we have started a task force within NADA that involves a couple of outside subject matter experts, big thinkers, smart people, a couple of people within NADA that have a lot of experience and a lot of expertise in the area, and then several dealers. I'm on the committee, and I'm the least qualified to be speaking about AI within the group. But I would just say, again, when you look at where it can go, and from my standpoint, it's a series of we could go out on the floor, right, and we could ask dealers, what do we think? And there'll be one dealer that will say, well, it's going to be all this change, and in 5 years there'll be a completely different business model. There'll be another dealer that would say, I don't see that much change. We've been doing it this way successfully. Maybe it'll be a tweak. But beyond that continuum, NADA should be able to create a sense of scenario plans. What if it's more progressive with the way it changes over 5 years, and how can we arm our dealer members to better respond to that, and what might be some of the implications with OEM policy if it progresses more rapidly, and if it doesn't progress more rapidly, what are some of the incremental changes and benefits that we can get from AI to make us more productive or more connecting with our customers. So it's not, to me, it's not black or white. This is going to happen or it's not going to happen. It's a series of things that could happen. So how do we get smart people just speaking about those scenarios and putting us in position to prioritize again and create plans around the things that we would, the more likely of the scenarios.
So then putting all those things together as chairman of NADA for 2026, put that into your vision, your game plan for how we're going to approach some of these opportunities and the things that you personally would like to ensure that during your tenure we have a game plan in place that we're moving forward.
Well, yeah, those are the game plans. The game plans, the customer experience, and all that comes with that. And that's a monster, right? We'll get feedback as a board. We'll have to begin to disseminate that feedback and ruthlessly prioritize. We'll have all this feedback. What are the one or two things? There might be 10 steps over a period of years that we said, okay, we should begin to try to move on these. But what are the one or two things that really in the near term we want to focus on? That's a lot of work. Well, in a 65-member board, that's a lot of work. To have those discussions and try to work to create that kind of alignment. And AI is similar. It may not be quite as complex, but it'll be similar. And here are the different areas that we can look at, and what do we want to prioritize and move forward. In any board structure or management structure, it's those discussions and it's that prioritization where much of the work and the strategy comes in. So that'll be it from my standpoint. That'll be a key focal point. There'll be other things again that come up, but I don't want to have a laundry list too long because it'll dilute the focus. The focus is continue our strengths with policy. Great team, Paul Mitri. Many people don't know who he is, but he and his team just do an exceptional job in protecting our interest. The operations group, again, show and dealer operations doing a great job, but how can the association become more strategic and anticipate where the business model might be in 2030, 2032, and what we can do to get there.
Let's talk a little bit more about the customer experience, because it's going to be such a big deal when we get all that information. But how do we overcome the fact that our industry, when you look at the Gallup poll, and only 6% of people trust salespeople with high honesty and ethics, yet when you look at customer satisfaction on the people who actually bought a car, it's actually pretty high. The last number is almost 80% fully satisfied with the entire process.
Yes.
How do we get those two things closer together so the press stops picking on us when they're trying to use an example of bad customer experience?
Well, that is for the industry, that is a billion-dollar question, and some of it is perception and reputation. We know that the hard data points to we have. The customers that have dealt with us, certainly on the service end, we create a better service experience than the direct-to-consumer. Mm-hmm. We know that. But we also know within the current service experience or sales experience, there's still things that we can do to make it better, and that requires, in some cases, better education, better alignment with the dealer members. Here's where the customers want to go. But in a lot of cases, better alignment with the OEMs and what their policies are and how their policies may be enhancing or detracting from our ability to really take optimal care of the customer. So it is, as you look at what customers want, it would be no surprise to anybody that transparency, speed of transaction, all of those things, and that pushes us to to address where is some of the friction in the current process, and how can we get better at that.
Great.
So, Rob, if you don't mind, will you talk for a minute about the importance of getting involved with your state or metro association?
Well, it's essential. It's because the biggest defense that we have as an industry lies with our relationship with our state associations and the franchise laws that protect us and give us impetus to go invest further in the industry, right? So if dealers are out there and they don't have a strong alignment with their state ATAE, and they don't know who he or she is, it should be priority number one coming coming out of this convention. The ATAEs all meet as a group. I think actually I'm going over there this afternoon to speak with them. So there's this sense of we've got NADA, and that we all work separately. It's not that the state associations, the ATAEs do not. It's not, NADA is not a master group of these groups. We're all independently driven, but we're working toward the same thing. So there's over the years, there's been tighter and tighter alignment and communication with all of the parties, with working on with the interest of the dealers at hand. But the system only works when the dealers are involved and driving it, and
Right.
not sitting back and saying, well, I hope somebody else goes and does that, because as there's consolidation in the industry, it puts more and more requirement on those of us that are participating in it to go get involved and do something.
Absolutely. And in case our listeners don't know, all of the franchise laws are state by state.
Correct.
It's not a national situation.
No,
So every single state, every single ATAE is managing their own franchise laws.
They are. Every state has their own specific franchise laws. There's, obviously there's some similarities because they're aware of, one state's aware of what might occur in the other state. That's why there's alignment and communication. But each state works on their own.
Yeah.
One thing, Cameron and I working with various different chairmen when I was on the board of directors and seeing how much time the chairman gives of their life to the year.
Volunteers.
Volunteers, that's right, volunteers. One thing that I want is, how excited is everybody back home not to have you around for 200 days this year? I'm just curious how that's going to work, both personally and professionally.
I don't know. Is that personally? Is that a question for my wife, or is that a
could be.
question?
I'll
for
save
my,
that one for her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's you. Let's talk about the team.
Yeah, I would say I'd say this though about that.
And we're recording this, by the way. I just want to make sure.
I talked about my father, and so I've been in this position with our company, working my best, doing some things well, making my share of mistakes, as we all do. But it's been over 30 years that I've been in the same position, and so this role with NADA for me is. It's not that I'm not involved. I'm heavily involved with our operation. Still on a daily basis, but it's given me perspective. It's almost like a mini sabbatical, and certain people in careers, they'll say, I'm going to do that. To me, as I look at what I want to do over the next 5 or 10 years or whatever it is, I think this experience will hopefully help me, provide me more context and position for me, put me in a position to be able to create more value and share more value and more expertise with our team as we look to do, as our, the number one Cochran team, as we look to do maybe what's next for us.
Great answer, Rob.
Absolutely.
I'll think about my wife.
So, Rob, what are you looking forward to most while you're here at show?
Well, there is an energy that is unmistakable with the show. I've been coming here for a long time, and you see so many people. There's so many connections. You make new connections, or you re-engage with people that you may not have seen before, and all of that just creates we bring a number of our people, and we've always done that. Bring a number of our people out, and it just puts we're grinding out January, fighting through the snow in Pittsburgh, and then all of a sudden you're here. You're looking at the balance of the year. You're able to get great education or go see key vendors and partners that we're working with, and so all of that happens within a condensed period of time. It's a great kickoff. So for me, it's just feeling that energy and that enthusiasm around an industry that we all care so deeply about.
And I'm sure when your team gets back, they are fully energized for the year ahead.
They are, and they're energized, and they might be a little too energized later in the evening tonight. But that's all part of it. It's all you're celebrating with people you're working with. You're celebrating with partners that you come see here. You're brainstorming on ideas that can help improve your business or somebody else's business, and that's why we do this. That's the magic of this kind of event, and what NADA and the team has done for years in building this into a bigger and bigger event. It's really second to none. We're speaking to the Brazilian dealers. I think it's 45 countries. I believe that's the number I saw. 45 different countries coming here just to observe this, so they can learn, and they can also take some ideas back to their own areas as far as how they can replicate this. So it's really, really impressive.
It's a
Terrific.
big show.
Great show. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Let's everybody thank our chairman for 2026, Rob Cochran.
Thanks, Guy Group.
And hope you're all enjoying Dealer Driven Podcast. Go online. We have lots of episodes posted up there. Please feel free to share any thoughts and ideas about what you'd like to see next. For Dealer Driven, I'm Michael Hayes.
I'm Cameron Wilson. Keep your dealership in drive, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.